divinely gifted singers. Will you put your hands together for Heather Cairncross?
Hello, my name is Heather Cairncross, and this is a podcast for heathercairncross.com. The last few days I've been choosing songs and thinking about the best microphone to use on the new album. After the first flush of excitement, we knuckled down at Cairncross Castle to all the preparations for next week's recording. My main task, apart from updating my blog, was to finalise the list of songs and make sure I had some clear charts for them. I know and hope that David Newton will probably largely ignore these and weave his own harmonic magic over the music, but I think it's only polite to make it easy for him to do this with a clear chart to base things on. A good friend of mine wrote to me in response to an email I sent out to my mailing list telling people about the new album. He quipped, "I see you're doing some Doris Day, but I see also you're only doing the most beautiful ones, which may possibly exclude my Doris Day favourite, which I think I've mentioned before. Still, if you do need a filler, here's a suggestion with some ideas on interpretation. Well, I'm just trying to help." And he then sent me a link on YouTube to Doris Day singing Whip Crack Away. One of the things I see very often at our local pub's jam session is the singer who jumps up to sing and doesn't know their key or even the speed or feel in which they want to sing the song. They invariably don't have a chart, which is the chords for the musicians to read, and then they wonder why things go wrong, or worse, blame the band. In my opinion, it really gives singers a bad name. Most jazz musicians know tunes in the key that they appear in the real book or other similar books of charts. These are often the high men's key, and as a rule they usually lie about a fourth away from the suitable keys for me. I do have a low voice anyway. To make it easier for myself, I always try to turn up with the chords, a chart, in my key. I think about the tempo and feel, and try to communicate this to the band. Not always successfully, I do admit. I usually count in the band and try and get the tempo right, and I confess that I have made a few mistakes doing that in my time. For the album, songs I don't already have charts for, I have emailed Dave a PDF version with the chords I have found on the sheet music. This is very handy, as he lives in Bath and I live in Brighton, some 3 hours' drive away. I've also sent a chordless version of the melody and words, which I have prepared in Sibelius. When I made the list of 16 songs and wrote down the keys, I found a few were in the same key. This would sound a bit dull on the album if I put them in a row in C major, for instance. The advantage of writing your charts in a score-writing program like Sibelius is that you can magically transpose the songs at the press of a button. I've asked Dave to look at the keys and see if he would prefer to play them up or down a few steps. Not too far, or it wouldn't sit so well in my voice, but I can be pretty flexible. When you're thinking about keys, you should find the high and low notes in a song, and then try singing the song in a few different keys. If you can't do this yourself, then try and make friends with somebody who can help you. Perhaps try and sing along to recordings of various singers until you find one you're happy with, and then ask a pianist, what key does Ella sing All the Things You Are in, for example. If you know your key, then you're halfway there. It's also well worth paying a pianist to make you some charts in the best key for you if you can't do it yourself. Another good tip is to try not to pick really difficult keys, a lot of sharps and flats, unless you always use the same musicians or have a chance to rehearse. If you want to sit in a jam session, that's get up for a guest slot, then don't assume that the band will know the song. If it's in a friendly key, then it makes it easier for them to read. Finally, you might want to think about choosing a key that's not too difficult for the transposing instruments, like the trumpet or saxophone. They play the printed note and sound the name of their instrument. For example, a B-flat trumpet will play a written C, and you will hear B-flat. So their chart will have to be a tone higher. That's when a score-writing program is really useful. You can run off a B-flat chart for the horns up a tone from the piano part. I was speaking to another, rather more helpful, sound designer friend about the best microphone to use for my voice. After a few suggestions, he generously offered to lend me a vintage Neumann U87. Today we met for a coffee and he handed over the precious cargo and then scared me by telling me that they cost over £2,000 new. Even more scary was the history of this particular microphone. Apparently Ian Curtis from Joy Division recorded using the very same microphone. He very sadly killed himself when he was only 24, and the same band that reformed as New Order later used the microphone. So, we nearly have the songs chosen and their charts almost completed. We have a fantastic microphone to record my voice. As you can see, my internet marketing expert and big sister Nicola Cairncross is also cracking the whip, making me update my website often, so that when we have made the fabled album, people will know how to get hold of it. There's so much more to do. Finding out about manufacturing the album, MCPS licenses and barcodes, designing the cover. I'm only a singer after all. Help! Can somebody please let me off? My name is Heather Cairncross, and this was a podcast for heathercairncross.com.
Don't be on the outside looking at the inside. If you're on the inside looking at the outside, things that look inviting seldom are exciting. Stay on your side. Don't be on the wrong side looking at the right side. If you're on the right side looking at the wrong side, everything you see don't really have to be, so stay on your side. Things look greener when you're on the other side. Seeing is believing, looks are so deceiving when you're taken for a ride. Don't be on the outside looking at the inside. If you're on the inside looking at the outside, everything you see don't really have to be, so stay on your side. Ooh. Don't be on the outside looking at the inside. Oh, if you're on the inside looking at the outside, things that look inviting seldom are exciting. Stay on your side. Don't be on the wrong side looking at the right side. Hey, if you're on the right side looking at the wrong side, hey, everything you see don't really have to be, so stay on your side. Hey, things look greener when you're on the other side. Seeing is believing, looks are so deceiving when you're taken for a ride. Don't be on the outside looking at the inside. Hey, hey, you're on the inside looking at the right side. Oh, everything you see don't really have to be, so stay on your side. Everything you see don't really have to be, so stay on your side. And everything you see don't really have to be, so stay on your side.